So tonight, it's going to be the continuation of our topic yesterday. We talked about EFL methodology, right? And we covered some common methodologies that you are familiar with, and I've given input, give you additional input as to other methodologies. Now, we will talk about ELT frameworks. But initially, what we will do is we dig into the details first, the, the parts of the methods, or the methods, the frameworks. Framework is a model, right? Framework is a model that we use in teaching. And each model, there are parts. So we talk about the parts first before we talk about the whole. So it will be a lot easier to understand. So it's a inductive method. We go into details first. Okay, framework. So whatever framework you are using, whatever methods, models, steps you have in teaching, these are the basic words and stages or steps, or whatever you call it, that you will encounter. And let's get to know each one of them. So each class, each lesson that you prepare must begin and end with a routine, opening and closing routine. Do you have this kind of setup, Carmen? Opening and closing routine. What do you do with your opening? You're on mute. You are on mute.
I don't know what happened. Yes, especially for young learners, no, you need the opening and you need a routine for the opening and the closing, no? But for example, for adults and young adults, probably it's more difficult to have a routine, no? Because you better talk about the current trends or something that is trending, no? But not to have a specific routine like in young learners, you know.
Oh, well, here, the routine that we are going to talk about first is the opening and closing. So opening routine are just basic greetings, checking of attendance, and homework. That should be your routine. And then writing on the board, the coverage, the topic or the lesson that you will cover, you write them. Why is it important to write what you need to teach on the board? Because students need to be guided, and also you need to be guided on the board. What are the things you probably need to do or haven't done yet the given time that you have? So students, when they look at the board and they can see that you wrote there is reading, there is vocab, there is listening, there is grammar and games, etc. So they can anticipate. It lowers down students' anxiety level because they can anticipate, they can expect ahead of what's going to happen.
Yeah, for example, in my routines, I always did that before the class started, no? So, for example, I use the board, and in a corner of the board, I annotate everything we are going to do during the day, no?
That's good, and that should be part of your opening routine. So again, the idea there is give students what to expect, and so they can prepare emotionally, you know. And then the closing routine, of course, here you give your rewards for those good students. When we say reward, we should treat reward for behavior. Okay, reward is to behavior. Points and additional points are for performance. So why do we give rewards to behavior only? Because it's given that in a class of, let's say, 20, honestly, maybe only 5 or less than 5 are good, right? They
Uh-huh.
keep participating, they keep performing, they get good scores all the time. And if that happens, those who are weak will be, will try to shy away from the class and will be quiet for the rest of the period. So we want to encourage them to participate, to perform, not to get the good score or the best answer, but just to participate. That's why we give
Participate. Yeah.
points to behavior, their attitude towards the class. Even though they're not good, but they're active, they join, and they're quiet, because the tendency sometimes of weak students, they become noisy. They become noisy because they cannot academically perform, so they become a
Mhm.
trouble maker in class. So to keep that also, we give rewards. Okay, and normally
And
we
points.
announce,
Uh-huh.
yeah, we announce rewards and points, whatever you give, but we call it rewards, not reward to academic, but reward to behavior. Okay, because there are two rewards. Teachers give points to, students who answer questions,
For
students,
performance.
yeah,
Mhm.
students who get good score. But aside from that, there must be additional points for well-behaved students, participative students. There must be points to quiet students, not noisy students. We have to recognize their role in the class for not being noisy. They have to be recognized. So they can keep and become like that all the time, not cause any
Okay.
trouble. Okay,
Ah,
so we,
okay.
we give that at the end. That's closing routine. Then homework also is part of closing routine, and your goodbyes and your reinforcement of what was learned. It's in the closing routine. What is reinforcement of what was learned? Remember, you have written on the board in the opening routine that the lessons to be covered, right? So before you end the class, you go back to that and say, class, did we read today? Yes. Did we talk about vocabulary? Did we play games? Yes, yes. So students can realize that, oh yes, we did all these things in our class. So the teacher prepared so much, so they can appreciate you. And when parents are waiting outside and ask their children, what did you do in class? They can remember right away what you have just reviewed to them. Otherwise, if you don't do this, they might remember the fun games you had, and they will tell their
Yes.
moms, we played games and it was fun. Parents, no matter how you enjoyed, your son enjoyed the class, but if you hear games, 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 I might wonder, what are you doing? Are you just playing or are you studying? So it's good that we reinforce that towards the end and highlight what was covered, what was done in the class. Question?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
One question. For example, the homework, do you check the homework that was left the day before in the routine or when? In what part of the class?
In the opening routine, checking of homework is part of it. So there
Ah,
are two ways to check homework. The first one is completion. What is completion? We only check whoever did the homework or completed the homework. So we check. So I normally just say, okay, open your homework book, and then I'll go around and check. Very quick, 1-2 minutes, it should be done, because
okay.
I will just check the numbers of. So I also don't give too many homeworks. Maybe I give one specific homework. Homework must be, the way you understand homework should be a reinforcement. It's not a new lesson at all. As a reinforcement, we only give homework because there's something that the student did not understand and perform well in class, and you wanted to support that at home. That's why it's called
Okay.
homework. So I don't give too many homeworks. Maybe I just give 5, items, or ask them to write 5 sentences. That's it. So it's very quick to check. Then I go over, and then of course, when you check, you try to recognize if there are common mistakes. Then after that, I go to the board. I say, class, I've noticed most of you made a mistake to number 3. Number 3 is like this. So it's a delayed feedback, a very quick one.
Okay.
So checking of homework should be, yeah, 1 to 2 minutes, because checking the attendance, greetings would be 1 minute. So your opening routine should not be more than 5 minutes.
Okay.
That fast. And some students, some teachers would say, really, Ace, that's quick, 5 minutes. So yes, don't do chit chat too long, because sometimes teachers, we like to talk in the beginning to make our students feel comfortable, but actually that is not advisable, because there is a
Yes.
chance that you bring the conversation too long.
No, and the students can get bored.
Yes, yes. So it has to be fast paced, quick
Okay.
so checking if you have TA, teacher assistant, then good. The TA can check the homework. Do you have TA in Peru, or have you experienced having a TA, teacher assistant?
Teacher assistants?
Mm.
Yes. They go around all the classrooms and probably they can enter and watch your class.
But not specific assistant to your class.
No, 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 no.
Okay, because when I handle if my class are young learners and very young learners, maybe
Okay. In
3,
that
4,
case.
5,
Mhm.
6 years old, or 7 years old but zero beginner level. So I need a local, teacher assistant, a Vietnamese,
Help.
for
Yeah.
because they may need something and they cannot express it to me. One time, one kid was just jumping in front of me. I said, "What? What? Teacher, teacher!" And he wanted to go to the toilet, so that's why he
Oh
was
my God.
jumping. I said, "Okay, run, go," because I don't normally open the door. I tell them, "You cannot go out anytime. There's a specific time that you have to go out." So I tell them to go out before the class starts, go to the toilet. Even if they don't like going to the toilet, it's a practice. Go to the toilet. So that's also part of my opening routine for very young learners, kindergarten up to 6 years old. Before I begin, okay, go out, make a line and go out. And then go to toilet, wash your hands, and then come back in one line also. So I don't allow them to keep coming in and out while I'm teaching. It disturbs you, right? It's
Yeah.
bothering. So, and then after 30 minutes, another break, toilet, then come back again if you have a 1 hour class. So after 30 minutes, so in between there is break, just toilet break. And some of them say, teacher, no, I don't want to go. No, just go out. And so it's also a practice for them to, they don't get bored sitting.
Yes.
So that's
Uh-huh.
part of my opening routine. Checking of homework very quickly. The second checking is you check for accuracy. That one takes time. So you must allot a time for that. So maybe what I do if I wanted to do accuracy, as soon as the student comes in, I collect the work,
The
the
homework.
homework. Yeah, so I collect the workbook. So I check them in advance. So when the time starts, I'm almost done checking. So it doesn't eat up again much of my time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's part of opening. That's part of my opening and closing routine. Do we have the same practice, Carmen?
Yes, most of the time we check as you said, the workbook.
Yes.
And if they have done the task,
Okay, that's good. Now,
Uh-huh.
after the routine, the opening and the closing routine, you have warm up. Others call it warmer, others lead in, or what's another name for this? Opening activities. So yeah,
Okay.
usually this is a 5-minute activity that is easy, fun to do. So not more than 5 minutes. It will be
Okay.
even if students are having fun, if students are having fun and you let it to continue, you are compromising teaching now, okay? Because you let students enjoy. So that's also not good, because they are no longer, you are preparing them for the lesson. But if you let them continue enjoying it, they will not like the lesson anymore. So you have to uh, to to strike the right balance. Stop the
Very
activity,
short.
and proceed to the next one. Also, this lead in, this warmer and warm up activities must be related to the lesson. Okay, it should not be teaching the lesson right away. What do I mean by not teaching the lesson? For example, your lesson is about the weather, sunny, windy, rainy. And then some teachers in the beginning of the lesson, the warm up, they will tell the students, okay, identify the weather, rainy,
How is the
windy.
weather today?
How's the weather today? That is your lesson, but you are already asking it in the beginning. So definitely students, maybe some will be able to answer, some cannot, because you're supposed to teach it later, right? But you did it in the beginning. So you are not following the right concept of warm up or warmer. So how do
For
we do?
example,
Yeah.
for example, you can show probably a picture about summer, no?
Yes. So you can
Or the
show picture of the beach and maybe a picture of um, a rainy weather picture. And what I do is I just tell them which one you like. I play
oh,
normally.
that's good.
Yeah, I play wall to wall. I don't know. Have you heard of wall to wall game? So wall to wall is
Go to
student
work.
will just have to select two sides, yes or no sides. So
Ah,
the left wall or the right wall. So I ask them, okay, everybody stand and then stay in the middle. If you say yes, move here. If you say no, move here. So I show a picture of a sunny picture. Do you like this? And then they move to yes. Some will move to no. Okay, very good. And why yes? Teacher, sunny is fun. I can play with friends. They can say like that. Or they say, no, why no? Teacher, I don't like sunny, very hot. Okay, that's good. Only that. You know? And then I show a picture of a rainy weather, maybe a boy holding an umbrella. Then, do you like this? Then they have to move again, yes or no. So a simple fun like that as a warm up. But I'm not teaching yet windy, rainy, sunny, just showing them the picture, because the picture they can already identify if they like it or not, whether they can speak the word about that, right? It's just a picture. So that's one, well, we call it wall to wall. Any activities that would involve two choices, we call it wall to wall. Move to the left,
wall
move to
to
the
wall.
mm.
Oh,
Or we have what we call four-cornered wall. So your
four
classroom
corner.
has four corners, right? Yeah, so your classroom has four corners. Um, if you have an activity with four choices, then you can have uh,
Choices.
four-cornered activity. Well, how do we do this? Example, you have sunny, rainy, windy, snowy, okay, for example, snowy weather, four weathers. And then you put these in four corners each, and then ask the students to stay in the middle. And then you say, eating ice cream. Just give them a word, eating ice cream. Then they have to run. Sunny, sunny weather, they eat ice cream, or rainy, they eat ice cream, or whichever. But normally when it's sunny weather, they eat ice cream, right? And then after that, okay, bring them at the center, and then you say, uh, go to the
Hot
beach,
chocolate.
again,
Okay, cool.
or go to the beach. Then again, sunny weather, they go to the beach, just like that. So four corners. Or if you have A, B, C, D, you check, you gave them a multiple choice activity, A, B, C, D. instead of checking, okay, number one, what's your answer? And then raise. That's a bit boring. So what I do is, okay, let's check your paper. Everybody stand, stay in the middle. A, B, C, D. Number one, what's the answer? Then they run. So sometimes the class, you can see right away if the class is divided because some went to A, some went to B. So you can tell, oh, okay, so they didn't have good idea about this question. So you can judge right away if what you are giving them, the activity that or the question, they were able to understand it or not. So it's a fun way of checking. You know? Even checking of activities can be fun. So yes, that is four-cornered wall.
Warmer.
Part of warmer. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Part of warmer.
That's what I'm saying by you can talk about it, but don't teach it yet. Now, next is context setting. Are you familiar with context setting?
Context setting.
Have you heard about this?
Well, not like that, but I assume that it is the presentation of the topic about your lesson, no?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. So after warm up, after warmer, context setting. So what is context setting? So example, in the warm up or in the warmer activity, you played yes or no game, the wall-to-wall game, and then you presented pictures of sunny, rainy, windy, cloudy pictures. After that, then you place all the pictures on the board and you ask them, class, what do you think is our lesson today? Look at the pictures. What
That's
do you
context setting.
Yes, that's context setting. So by looking at the pictures, they can guess and answer your question. What is our lesson today? They can say, teacher, weather. Very good. So our context is weather, and context setting is how you elicit, how you get the idea from the students about the lesson. Because most teachers, what we do is the opposite. We spoon feed the information. Class, after playing, our lesson for today is weather. So that's not so challenging. Why? You are not developing critical thinking of your students. So you know, in the four C's of, oh, I forgot what you call that, 21st century skills. Yeah, and that's part, right? Communication and critical thinking. So we have to keep challenging our students to think, not just to rely so much on us teachers. So one is, in context setting, present them examples, ask, what is our lesson? So let them think and connect the warm-up activity, the warmer activity, to your question. And they should be able to do that. Otherwise, maybe your warmer was difficult. They cannot see the connection, you know. So that's context setting. So which means every lesson must have a context. So context setting. Yes, every lesson must have a context, and teacher must set the context right after warmer. So a context, the definition of context is the theme, the scenario of the lesson that reflects real life situation. This is how the student is going to see your lesson in real life. Have you experienced, there are students, there are classes that always some students ask not related questions or out of the topic questions. Have you experienced that? There are classes that some students ask questions.
Some students, yes.
That's because they don't see the context. They are not guided. It's not clear to them, what is this lesson about? What's the parameter? what is the limit of the lesson. So if you're able to set the right context, if you're able to inform them of what is the context, what's the theme, the scenario of this lesson, they will not ask you questions like that. Okay, because they know that our lesson today is only about weather. You will not talk about season. You will not talk about activities, just weather. So that's how important context is. It sets the parameter. It sets the limit of your lesson as to how much you're going to be teaching them and to be covered. Okay.
Also, sometimes, for example, we are in the class and then students start asking new vocabulary words that we are not talking about. And then then another one, and it takes time to explain. No?
Do you entertain questions like that?
Yes, sometimes there are students that ask you all the time about vocabulary words that are not about the topic.
So yes, there are cases like that, but how do we avoid that? So first is maybe again, context is not clear to them. Okay, they don't know what is our lessons focus. Number two, there are students who, how should I say it? It's like scatterbrain students. Whatever comes into their mind, they just ask and say it.
Yes, that's good.
Even though it's not part. It's something about behavior of some students. So you can control by telling them there are parts of the lesson that you can ask questions. I'll give you a chance to ask. Not anytime you want, you can do it because we have some stages. That's why when you write them on the board, okay, now we're going to study reading, then I'm going to ask you questions here. We're going to have vocabulary. I'm going to ask questions here. So in that way, they know when to ask. So if you can have it as a practice, then they will know when to ask. But
after the class.
After class. No, don't do it after class. It will eat up your time.
Okay.
So there must be a portion that you entertain them because you're no longer paid after class. so just within the time frame you're given, because you have another class maybe after, and it will, you will be in a hurry in your next class because you entertain so much. So give them time for question and answer portion of your student. Or the third one, there are, we call it attention getter students. They like to have the attention on them, and the way they get it is they ask questions from you. So again, to control them is to give them that there are stages of the lesson when they can ask questions.
Perfect.
So, okay. Context setting. Now,
delivery.
So sorry. So in the context, by the way, you cannot have a context like, let's say you are teaching visited, walked, traveled. This is what?
Oh, the past tense?
Past tense. Yes. You cannot have past tense as your context because past tense is not a situation. Yes, past tense is not a situation. Past tense is not a theme. Past tense is not a scenario. It is your grammar focus. So how do we apply? So teachers always ask me, so Ace, what's the context there if we are going to teach them visited, traveled, and that's grammar. So I would always ask teachers, so what is the use of past tense in real life? Then say, talk about activities in the past. Okay, there you go. So you can have your context, activities in the past, or to be specific, weekend activities that's already finished. Or a question like, what did you do last weekend? So that could be your your context. So context, by the way, there are different kinds of context. There are realistic context. There are imaginary context. When you ask your students, probably, when your lesson is about conditionals, didn't happen yet. So if I were, for example, so if I were that could be your context.
If I were rich.
Yes, if I were rich. Yeah, so if I were the president, something like that. So
Uh-huh.
you can have a combination of real context, imaginary context, situational context. For example, ordering food in a restaurant, that's situational. That can be your context, okay? So yes, context is very important. Now, delivery of content. So for the delivery of content, this is also part of your framework. After routine, warm-up, context, what comes after is the procedure of your lesson or the content. Now, we will have a separate topic for delivery of content, because delivery of content now differs on what are you teaching. Are you teaching vocabulary? Are you teaching vocabulary and listening? Are you teaching vocabulary and reading? Are you teaching listening and reading? Are you teaching writing? Are you teaching speaking? So many combinations of lessons, right? And many teachers get confused on what to focus in terms of lesson delivery, especially if you are just given a book or they tell you, okay, just teach this unit. For example, when I first became a teacher, I was told, here's your book, that's your classroom, and your class is for 2 hours. That's it.
Oh my God.
So, oh my God, what am I going to do in 2 hours with this book and one student? So that was the longest 2 hours in my entire life. It's like waiting for, your birthday to come, so long to take. So there's no guide as to what to do. And, I feel like many teachers experience that way. So that's why in this teacher training, I always highlight, how do we look at when we are given a unit to teach, when we're given several pages, when we're given several activities, how do we manipulate it? Okay, manipulate the unit so that the unit, we can bring it to life. We can bring the book to life. And we always have the acronym ROSA. That's your name, ROSA. So what is ROSA? ROSA stands for, when we are teaching and using a book, a unit from the book, we try to recall ROSA. R, replace. So do not worry if one activity, a picture, a song, or whatever that is in the book, if it doesn't fit, you can replace. Okay. O, otherwise, if it's not necessary, then you can omit. Don't include it, just remove it. Omit, O-M-I-T. Also, when it is lacking, because there are pages, maybe too few activities, you can S, supplement. Okay. And A, adapt. A-D-A-P-T, adapt. For example, there are books that will tell you, listen and read. But if your students are good at listening, don't listen anymore. Just focus on reading, right? Or if the book says, point the picture and say, but that's too boring to point and say. You can adapt it. You can change the presentation to make it, engaging for students to do. So that is our guidance. Rosa is our guide, your name. I always say this one. It's not, I didn't make up this one just for you, okay? This is really our
guide.
Yes, our guide. So because teachers, when they use book or when they're given materials to teach, sometimes they have this feeling that they have to use it everything in there because that's part of the book. No, you are the teacher, the captain of the ship. You should know where to bring this class in order to achieve what you need to achieve. So you can decide what to replace, what to omit, what to supplement, and how you want it to be adapted. Question.
Ace, what do you mean? No, but supplement.
Supplementary,
Yeah,
SUPPLEMENT.
but
So
what is
example,
that?
yeah, example, the lesson I'm teaching, grammar, for example, focuses on grammar. And in grammar unit, we have fewer fun activities. Mostly maybe activity 1, fill in the gaps. Activity 2, listen and answer. Number 3, multiple choice. Number 4, so many, test taking activities, right? But if you think that student needs, because in my case, when I teach grammar, I use discovery method, and it's not there in the unit. For example, there's no
The
text,
book.
there is no video, there's no audio. So I supplement, I bring in another material that's not part of the book. So I research my own material. I research a short text where, for example, where the grammar lesson can be found. Okay. Example, I have a class. They don't like reading. They don't like serious lesson, but I'm teaching grammar in that particular lesson. And I know that these teenagers, they like songs. So to learn, to learn preposition, so we listen to Whitney Houston's song. Because in that song, there are many prepositions like into, of, on. So they can learn preposition from the song. So the song is not in the book. Excuse me.
Okay.
So the song is not in the book. So I supplement. I bring outside material to the lesson. That is what we call by supplement. Or in that grammar, there is no activity that's good for warm up. So maybe I print pictures and make some picture puzzle. So that is supplement. I'm supplementing materials. Normally, this is for grammar lessons because the book is just too straightforward in terms of grammar presentation.
Very active now.
So are we clear with supplement?
Yes.
Okay, now, but we will have a specific lesson of delivery of content next meeting. Next is formative evaluation. Have you heard of formative evaluation or controlled activities?
Yes.
So formative evaluation, these are formative tests. These are tests happening while the lesson is ongoing. So if it's reading, then there's reading questions along the way, or there are some multiple choice questions. There are some true or false questions. There's yes or no questions. There are
it's controlled by the teacher.
Controlled by the teacher, yes. And these questions are there because we are trying to help and guide students to form knowledge and learning while we are teaching them, right? So for example, transform the base form into past simple and add ed. So that's one, because we are teaching them how to form past simple regular. So controlled activities, others call it controlled activities, but these are formative evaluation. Now, opposite, and this normally happens in the study part, in the practice part of the lesson. The application part, the freer practice or the production or the activate. So others call it activate, others call it application, others call it freer evaluation. Free. What do you mean by freer practice and freer evaluation? Because at this stage of the lesson, this is when students are going to apply what they have learned. Apply using their own experience and prior knowledge, combining the knowledge that they have learned from your class. So here, you must give them activity wherein they can practice your lesson in real life scenario. Okay. And this is also the part where you are going to achieve your main objective. So in the weather warm up and the weather context, maybe your objective there is by the end of the lesson, students will be better able to share and talk about their favorite weather. Okay, that's the main objective. So here in the application, that should come out. You give them activity, maybe, okay, class, I give you a piece of paper, you draw your favorite weather, and you present and share in class why that's your favorite weather. So you already met your objective, right? So here, it's not controlled, it's freer because each student will have different answers and teacher wouldn't know what is their answer. Okay, so that's what we call freer practice or application or activate or production. And this part eats up a bigger portion of the time because it's application. You don't want your student to be in a hurry here because some students may take a while to, you know, think of how they're going to use their learning to real life. So don't give activities here that will limit students' answer. Do not give them true or false questions. Do not give them yes or no questions. Do not give them multiple questions. Yes, it should be open-ended in the application. Ask them why, you know, or what would happen if we change the end of the story, the ending of the story. So that is freer practice. Summarization is not even part of it should not be part of your application because it's not applying. There's no application in summarization. You just, you know, get and shorten the story. But if you want to target that, there must be a twist, like summarize and change the ending of the story. That can be because now students have their own input to the output.
It's part that students put their own input, right?
Yes, to put it simply like that, students must have their own input in this part of the lesson because in the formative test or evaluation, it's controlled. It's the teacher.
It's the teacher
who will determine, identify what would be the output. But here it's the student who will input for their output, put in their own idea.
Ace, do you think this is the most important part of the lesson?
I think so too. Why? Because this is now the practical use of learning. What good will it do if you have lengthy 30 minutes delivery of content? No, delivery of content maybe is 30 minutes and you only give application 5 minutes. That's no justice to, you know. How would you know that your 30 minutes will result into learning, will work, right? How would you know that? It is in the evaluation. So normally the delivery of content, if it's grammar, vocabulary, should not be more than 7 minutes. And then the practices, the small practices, activities that will come with it, come after it. If there are 5 items, just give them 3 minutes for that. If there's like 10 item questions, just give them 5 minutes, always shorter than the number. That's the rule. Because anyway, if they needed time to extend, you can extend, you know, a little bit more minutes. So
you say the control part, 5 minutes?
Yes,
Oh,
each
okay.
you can have 2 or 3 controlled activities anyway. So you can have 5.
Each of them, three
Yes,
to
each.
five.
Yes, each. Yes.
Okay.
Because for example, if you have let's say 7 questions for one control activity number 1, 7 questions. So you give them 3 or 4 minutes for that. Then
Okay.
because it's just choosing, it. So normally, the idea behind it, if students they are given choices, it's half the minute is given enough for them. So if there are 10 questions, there are choices, half of that, so 5. So if there are 7, you got to be 3 or 4 minutes.
Beautiful.
It
Okay.
cut into half the timing. Just to calculate the timing. But if it's open-ended, like why or explain, that needs more time. So one question would probably be 3 to 5 minutes.
Enough.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have, let's say, draw and present your favorite weather. So the drawing alone maybe will take 2 3 minutes, and then the
Present.
sharing. It's not just sharing that you stand there in front and share to the whole class. No, not like that. It should be mingling activity. Have you heard of
Mingling.
mingling activity?
Yes.
So meaning each students will look for a partner to share and talk about their favorite weather, and then exchange again to another partner. So they go around and meet different classmates to talk about different weather, because we are giving them maximum opportunity to present and talk and practice the language. And
So
that will
6 minutes.
probably have, yes, yeah, that will be for maybe drawing 3 minutes, and then plus 5 minutes mingling. So that's around 8.
Eight
So
minutes. Yes.
8 to 10 minutes for freer practice, that will do. That's fine. But if it's writing, normally we go 10 to 15 minutes, because writing takes a while.
Oh, so this was freer practice?
Yes, for freer practice.
Okay.
So that's how we count the time. Okay.
Freer practice, 8 to 10 minutes, no?
Yes, yes. That's in total. Okay. If it's just a
Okay.
general freer practice, 8 to 10 minutes. But if if it's writing, it can be more than 10, but
10,
not more than
15 minutes.
15. But not, yeah,
Uh-huh.
10 to 15. Why is it longer? Because writing is a low energy activity, meaning you don't end your lesson with writing alone. So after students have written, ask them to do something that will increase the energy level. So ask them to stand up and do mingling activity and go around and present their output, get ideas from others, sharing, etc. That will increase the energy of the student. Because if you just end it with writing and then say goodbye after writing, students
Oh,
will not,
no.
yeah, your class. Maybe when they go out, they're down, and parents are waiting, and then say, just writing, mom. I hate that class. Maybe they will do that. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Mm. So you want to push their energy level up by giving them activity different to change the mood and the energy level after writing. Okay, so that's why writing takes a while to do. And feedback, of course, feedback should be all throughout the lesson, right? We give our students feedback all throughout, from start to end. We give them feedback with a simple thumbs up, with a simple smile, with a simple nod. That is feedback to our students. Why do we do this? Because we want to communicate to them verbally, non-verbally, of how they're doing. So they are guided if what they're doing is not good, good, needs more effort. So through feedback, we can have it immediate or delayed feedback. Immediate is when the student is giving you answer and you give them thumbs up, so that
I'm
right
sorry.
away he got the idea that he's doing good. But if student is giving an answer and then you said, I'm sorry, can you say it again? So that's a feedback that there's something wrong. Can you paraphrase your answer? So immediate. Delayed is after the student presented or after they've written their answers, then you give time to yourself to present on the board what needs to be addressed or corrected. That is delayed. Okay. When you ask them to finish first, then you give your feedback later. That's delayed feedback. Now, the question is, when do we do this? It depends on the target of the lesson. If your lesson is for fluency, for practice, then what do we do? Delayed or immediate?
Delay.
Delayed, because our target is not accuracy. It's just
Fluency.
to practice. So let them make mistakes and then you correct later. But if your purpose is accuracy, then you correct right away, because otherwise students might get the wrong answer in their mind all the time. Okay. However, according to age, kids, it's okay, whether delayed or immediate, no problem. Kids, teens. But with adults, you have to negotiate, because there are adults, even though you tell them that our target is accuracy, so I will correct you right away, they don't like being corrected on the spot, because their flow of thought gets distracted. So like one of my Japanese student told me, Ace, don't interrupt me in the middle of my answer because I cannot continue anymore. I forgot all of a sudden what I have to say. So yeah, I am careful with that.
Concentration.
Yes, but with kids, they don't care. And with teens, they don't care. So feedback, immediate and delayed. Correction. When it comes to correction, by the way, what's the difference between feedback and correction?
Excuse me?
What's the difference between feedback and correction?
Oh, feedback is when the students have already done their performance, and then you immediately give the results, no? But correction is the part that you are correcting the mistakes.
So in correction, something is wrong. Okay. Feedback could be good or bad, then you say something, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So correction, there's something wrong. That's why you need to do something to inform the students. So when do we correct? We don't correct students in the warmer. So if feedback can be all throughout the lesson from start to end, you can do it. Correction, there are certain stages that you have to be careful. Warmer, lead in, we don't correct students there because it's just for fun, you know. Again, students might think you are too serious when you correct right away, or you may discourage students to participate later on because you keep on correcting. So correction can be enforcedly done, rigorously done during the study stage because students are learning. So you want to, again, focus, especially if your focus is accuracy, then correct them right away. Otherwise, you can correct later, delayed correction also in the study, but this happens in the study. In the application or in the production, in the activate stage, we do delayed correction. Why? Because when the student is doing presentation, you cannot just stop the student. Stop, because that's wrong. The student will probably not do it again. So
no, they don't like it.
Yeah, let them finish and then give the correction at the end. So delay. Again, so different stages. Warm up, lead in stage, no correction. Study, presentation, you correct immediately. In the application and production, delayed correction. Okay.
Wait. Correction. Oh, is
Question.
one question. When you said about the warmer and leading, do you give feedback at this stage or no?
Yes, you can give feedback. If students are performing well, you can give them thumbs up. You can give them a happy smile. That is already feedback. Doesn't
Okay.
have to be serious. Doesn't have to be verbal. Anything else?
But no correction.
No
Not
correction.
correction in
Yes,
this
no
part.
correction.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. Because that happened to me. Students were playing an activity and I keep correcting because student made like wrong grammar in the warm-up stage. And then all of a sudden the student doesn't want to participate because I keep on correcting. So I felt bad to that student. And it happened all throughout the day. He doesn't want to participate anymore. So it's like I spoiled the day of the student
Oh my
because
God.
he got embarrassed being corrected right in the beginning, So yes, we should not correct. You can, if you want to. There are teachers who really can't let go of some mistakes. So you can just write it down, and towards the end of the lesson, you can have a wrap up of all the corrections that you want to
Correction.
say. Yeah, but that becomes delayed correction. Okay, anything else
Okay.
about correction? No more. Have you heard of ICQ and CCQ?
Oh, yes. But I don't remember exactly. But it's when you make questions about if they have understood your instructions.
Correct. That's ICQ. ICQ is instruction check questions.
Instruction checking questions, yes.
Yes. So meaning it is also part of your framework, your model, to always check students' understanding of your instruction. Do not assume that students got the instructions right. So every stages you have to check. How? By asking them questions answerable by yes or no. Do not just say, do you understand, class? Am I clear, class? Did you get me, class? Of course, students will say yes, 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 even though if they don't. So ask them, if you said, we are going to play a guessing game, we divide the class into two, then each team will have one actors in front to, to act out in front and students guess. That's the instruction. Then you ask, are we going to play guessing game? Yes. How many actors will stand in front?
Actors.
Yes. One teacher. Okay, very good. Are you going to guess? Yes. That's it. So if they got it right, then that's already okay. Now, when you say, let's play charade, then you ask questions. Some students, I experienced it, some students would say, teacher, we already know that game. You don't have to explain. What are you going to do? Are you still going to do ICQ?
Yes, probably I will ask another student.
Yes, you still have to go to do ICQ and ask that student because you know the rules. Can you share to your classmates how to do this game?
Or probably that students can show the other ones or
Yes.
repeat the model, no?
Correct. So, but we should not skip it because that was my mistake before many years ago when I was a new teacher. I'm always scared. I don't know. I'm scared of students who know already the activity because they can interrupt and butt in anytime they want. And so when that happens, I just say, okay, since you already know, I will not explain. And then we proceed with the game, and only to find out that only one or two students knew the game and the rest they don't know. So I end up, messing up with activity. So yes, when someone says he knows, she knows, then let that person share to the whole class
Yes,
about
share or
activity.
show it.
Yes, so that's ICQ. How about CCQ?
That's concept checking questions?
Correct. Yes.
Mhm.
So when we teach grammar or vocabulary or any idea, we should not just rely that they got it right or assume that they understood it. Instead, again, ask questions to check their understanding.
Mhm.
Example, you said, okay, visited now or yesterday? They say, yesterday,
Oh,
teacher.
that's good.
Good job. Yes. Okay. Walked now or yesterday? Yesterday, teacher. Good. Visiting now or yesterday? Now, teacher. Okay, good. That's how you differentiate past simple and
Past.
progressive or continuous tense without explaining again, but checking their understanding if they got the idea, the concept that visited is in the past, completed action, visiting is ongoing and it's happening now, right? Concept check question. Or that is easy, but the difficult ones, well, when I'm teaching kindergarten, so I'd say after I taught them some school items or school toys like ball, doll. So for example, ball, let's say it's round. I can play like this. Is it a ball? Yes. So that is concept checking that a ball is
Ah,
round and
okay.
can be played like this. You don't have to explain, right? Um, what else? Can you think of a difficult word that probably we try to
Formalize, for example, for adults. Formalize.
formalize? Oh my God, that's a
Yeah.
difficult one. Formalize. What do you think would be the lesson? Is it about maybe
No, too difficult.
formal and informal, maybe?
Yes,
You
formal and
say
informal.
formal expression and informal expression. So formal and
Yes,
informal.
that's
Some
good.
students maybe they don't get what is formal expressions and informal expressions. When you're having conversation. So how do you concept check if it's a formal or informal? So you say uh, if these adult students, not really very beginner, but maybe elementary, so they can understand some English expressions, right? So you
Uh-huh.
can say, I want to buy the dress. I want to buy the dress. Is it formal or informal? So we say, I wanna versus I want to buy the
Uh-huh.
dress. Formal or informal? So they will see the
The
two
difference.
sentences. Yes, I wanna and I want
I
to.
want to.
Yes,
Mhm.
so you'd say I wanna informal. I want to formal. So I'm in class. I have a meeting. Formal. I want to. Friends. Friends. I say I wanna.
Mhm.
Informal. I wanna. Okay.
Excellent.
That's
Mhm.
how probably I will make them have concept check. Of course, they will answer me yes or no with that. Okay. Concept check and ICQ are very powerful because they lessen teacher talk time and the they increase the students participation, and that's what we want our students, even zero level, beginner level, they can do, um, they can participate in class.
Mhm.
Question.
Wow, fantastic explanation. So,
We covered so many things in just
yeah.
an hour. Yes. So
Excellent. Thank you so much.
after this one, next meeting. Oh, when is our next meeting? Oh no, it's gonna be Monday, right?
Monday, yes.
Yes, Monday or Tuesday my time. We will now see this in a. We will put this into practice. You know, we'll look at a simple. We will look at different frameworks and where are these in the frameworks. So we have a reading framework, a writing framework, a grammar vocab framework, and then we compare it to when we are using the book, how we look at the book and pattern it to the framework that we already have. So that would be our next session.
Oh, Ace, are we going to write a lesson plan?
Yeah, I will ask you to prepare a sample lesson plan.
Ah, okay.
Why?
No, because I have a problem when I write a lesson plan. For example, that part when you put the objective of the class, no, or of the lesson. In writing that paragraph, I always have a problem with that.
Yeah, we will tackle that one in
Okay.
lesson planning. How do you write objective? Your objective must be complete and should be observable. Yeah, there is a guideline on how to do that, and we will talk about that. Okay. Questions?
Observable. Okay. No more. Excellent.
Okay, so thank you.